Hello everybody and welcome to Brilliant Shadows. Now this is a game where you play as a necromancer who is also a lesbian, and I figured that this month for Pride this would be an excellent game to play, so I've been excited about it. I've had this game in my library for a long time. I've just been meaning to get around to it, so I hope you'll join me on this journey. This should be a fun, I believe it's a visual novel. So, without further ado...
We're going to do this, and you and I are going to end up together.
Yeah! Once our training is done, we're going to be paired, and we're going to be the best pair in the world!
Alright.
We'll be best friends forever.
Nothing is going to stop us as long as we're together!
Nothing.
It's a promise!
Alright. Prude's tiny hand stabbed outwards, and Ash closed her arm around it.
Promise.
Promise. Thump.
I'm awake.
Are you?
Yeah, I'll bet you are.
Prude? What do you want?
I'm glad I came to check on you. Partied a little too hard after graduation?
In place of memories, Ash only found a fizzling sensation where the aforementioned evening should have been.
Yes.
Oh, so I suppose we shouldn't worry about the pairing ritual then?
I think that's us. Ash was on her feet with a start.
Oh!
There we go. That's the Ash I know and love. Get dressed. I'll meet you downstairs. I'm supposed to collect any other tardy graduates.
Thanks. I'll see you there.
Tardy graduates, are you like class president or something?
See you later, partner!
The day had finally come. 14 years of training, and they were finally going to become a pair. They would finally be set free upon the world and have a chance to work their magic. Oh, the plans they had. Ash was dressed and groomed in record time. She took a few bites of the pastry her drunk self had possessed the wisdom to save, but couldn't manage to finish it. The excitement curbed her appetite. Had Prude forgotten something?
Yes?
The door swung open and Hector stepped inside.
Oh good, you are already about. I wanted to ensure you were not tardy.
I don't see why you would assume I'd be tardy today of all days.
No, you are correct. I suppose I should have assumed prudence would have gotten you up.
And she did. Ash flushed at the comment.
Well, I just wanted to ensure that you were up and about. I will see you at the ritual.
Who are you? Ash wanted to throw something after him as he left. Hector was a year or two older than her. He had graduated 2 years ago, and after the ritual, he had found himself unpaired. Oof, that's rough, buddy. He had been so much nicer before that. They had never been quite friends, but they had at least flirted with the notion back then. This year would be his third chance. She was impressed he had been able to survive that amount of humiliation.
Forget him. Today is our day.
The idea of finally fulfilling her dream of becoming one of the pairs of joining the Orders. She just couldn't contain her excitement. Forcing herself to stifle her enthusiasm, if only a little, Ash adopted her serious face. She cloaked herself in an air of dignity and stepped out her door. The walk to the ritual chamber took far less time than she remembered. She must have been unconsciously rushing. Other students had arrived, but the chamber hadn't quite filled. There were many more to come. Ash chose to burn the time by retrieving a book from the pocket in her sleeve and burying her nose within. A few moments passed before she felt a tap on her shoulder. Prude was looking at her with a whimsical smile, and behind her the chamber was alive with the bustle of 100 graduates.
Already lost again, I see.
I was just passing the time.
Are you ready?
Very.
The two exchanged knowing smiles.
Silence!
Who is that? Silence struck like a blacksmith's hammer.
You all know why you are here. You have completed your training. Today is the day where we perform the pairing ritual. In this ritual, the dark magic of necromancy is balanced against the light magic of the Paladin Order.
Alright, that's cool too.
In pairing, we find balance.
That's fair, I guess.
To find only one, we are lost in darkness.
Or blinded by the light.
Ooh, alright, I'm with
It is only in finding balance that we can know true understanding and power.
Now form up. You should all know the incantation by now. We will begin immediately.
The graduates moved as though on instinct and were in positions in moments.
Begin.
What are we doing? For a heartbeat, Ash struggled to find the first words of the ritual, flustered by both excitement and anxiety. She knew, however, this wouldn't affect the spell. Any mage that performed the incantation prior to its completion had a chance to be paired. Assuming, of course, that one possessed sufficient power. As the voices rose, so too did the ambient magical energy. Each figure began to emanate their element. Ash saw Prude beaming with light, and she could sense the shadow that poured from her. The energy began to swirl, spiraling upwards and towards the center of the room. It began to swirl and twist in on itself, flaring brighter and darker as each voice ascended towards it. Then all at once it became solid. A massive yin-yang hung over them. It spun gently, burning with raw magic of both light and shadow. Ash could not hold back a smile as awe took her. It was finally happening. The explosion hit with such force, Ash was on her knees before she could even process it had happened. She found herself gasping for breath. A moment passed and fear took her. What if she hadn't been paired? The thought struck so hard Ash could only avert her eyes, daring not to look at the back of her left hand, her primary hand. Looking instead to her distant left, Ash saw Prude staring at the back of her own fist, a smile curling across her face. The fear dissolved. There was no way. Her best and closest friend was going to be paired to her. This would be but the first climax in the story of their life together. Her eyes fell to her clenched fist as she uncurled her fingers. The back of her hand held the black bird, its wings outstretched, its feathers curling wildly. It was beautiful. Prude rushed over to her.
Kinda weird we got a spider.
No. The fear returned tenfold. For a moment, Ash could not draw breath. With a gasp, she managed to extend her hand, her right hand, the one without the bird. Prude placed her hand into Ash's. No! Prude's warm peach skin depicted the image of a spider beautifully drawn to just below her knuckles.
No.
Prude's expression melted, contorting from delight to concern. She reached out and snatched Ash's left hand. Concern hardened to despair and then rage.
How? You're my best friend! Who could be a better pairing for me than you?
Ash couldn't find words. Where Prude was able to find anger, she could only find sorrow. The two stood there for an eternity. Words were at a loss to convey what they felt. Only silence could portray that emptiness.
Does anyone have a spider? Anyone at all? I am terribly excited to meet you. I promise I will be the best necromancer you will ever know.
Oh, no, not Hector. Hector looked deeply concerned, almost panicked himself.
I was top of my class, you know. In fact, I've even been teaching this last year. I'll admit, I am lowborn, and I do have a silly last name, but that's no reason to hide from me.
Silence hung as awkwardly as Hector was himself. Oh man, I feel bad for you, but I feel worse for them.
I don't suppose that the ritual went awry?
This last question he directed to the heads of the two warders.
No. The spell has never failed. Not in the 40 times I've been here for it.
And there is no record of it having failed prior to that.
If you did not pair, you would not be marked.
Turning back to the crowd, Hector gave a sheepish smile.
Really and truly sorry if I've disappointed you, but I swear I will spend the rest of my life proving to you that I am a worthy pairing.
Go.
Ash whispered it, the words escaping before she had time to bite her own traitorous tongue.
This isn't right.
Go. I have to find my pairing as well. I bet there's a paladin out there just as harried.
You're still my best friend.
And you are mine.
This isn't right.
I know, now go!
What kind of system is this? Another moment of silence fell between the two before Prude let go of Ash's hand and walked up to Hector. He raised an eyebrow and then broke into a wide smile.
Prudence.
Prudence turned her hand around, showing him the spider just below the knuckles. He returned the gesture, tears welling up in his eyes.
This is so wonderful. I am so happy.
Prudence gave him a look. The look spoke more than she could ever convey with words.
No, I'm sorry. I know how much you two wanted to be paired. Please don't tell me she is without.
No, Ash was paired.
But with whom? Hector's eyes fell to Ash.
That's good. At least you need not suffer the stigma of being unpaired. Here, show me your hand. I will help you find your pair.
Ash didn't resist as Hector took her hand.
Oh my, the phoenix. Lovely mark.
Raising his voice, he raised her hand.
Does anyone have a phoenix mark? You may have mistaken it for a bird.
There was no response, only dulled chatter as pairs seemed to be performing introductions.
Come now, there can only be but one or two of you left. Speak up.
No reply came. Hector made a face and lowered his voice.
I imagine someone may be in a situation similar to your own, scared to admit they did not get the partner they wanted. Let me speak with Luciana and Zachariah. Would you mind coming with me, Prudence?
It's Prude, and no, I'm not leaving her until she finds her pair.
Prude it is, and I understand. I will be right back.
He seems nice. Like, I get it, but, oh, God. Hector marched away with a little more bounce in his step than Ash appreciated. Yeah, look, I know it's been 3 years, man, but come on. Prude's eyes followed him as he left.
You know, this may sound weird, but I actually have a really good feeling about this. The moment he realized I was his pair and he mine, something just clicked.
Prude turned back to Ash.
It will be the same for you. I promise.
Ash swallowed and held back tears.
Somehow, when you say it like that, I believe it.
Everyone who has paired and met their partner, sit down.
Woof. I'm turning the music down. Give me but a moment. The music's way too loud for my taste. The command was so harsh, Ash almost sat herself down, only processing the actual contents of the command when already almost down to take a knee. Catching herself in time to stay standing, Ash gave a look around. She was standing alone. There was a hushed conversation from Hector and the two heads. Well, hushed saved for Zachariah, I believe. Or
There were an odd number of
Zachariah.
students. At least one student being unpaired is to be expected.
Who's the other person, though? We're marked.
You yourself should know that we'd be lucky to have only one. There were 5 in your class.
There was further hushed discussion.
What do you mean she has a mark?
Yeah. What is that? What? What? That's giving me chills.
She must have drawn it on herself or something.
Excuse me? More whispers. Ash had gone numb.
Oh, well, I suppose you would know.
Silence seemed to hang for a moment.
Veronica Ashmar, come with us, please.
Oh, that's me. Ash's feet seemed to obey her without her mind bothering to process the words.
Prudence, you too.
Okay. Prudence was beside her, an arm around Ash's shoulders, whispering comforting things into her ear that she couldn't hear. I'm so sad. This is sad. The meeting took place in Zachariah's office. It was closest to the chamber. Hector yelled. I keep reading this name and not pronouncing it correctly. Zachariah yelled. The two seemed about to come to blows, yet the words never reached Ash. Prude stayed by her side. Luciana seemed mostly to contemplate, commenting only occasionally. The numbness spread within her. Shock. It was shock. She knew what shock was. But knowledge didn't mean escape. She couldn't free herself of it. Everything became a blur. Somehow she made it back to her room and into her bed. She finally found respite in sleep. I'm so sad. Man, I'm gonna cut the first episode there because I'm trying to keep these shorter, but holy mess. What? We didn't get partnered, but we have, but we're not. I don't know. I'm a little sad. I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, stick around. We'll continue this journey together. I'm really curious to see where this goes. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and make sure to subscribe to see more from me. And we'll continue down this path and see where it leads. Have a great night. Take care of yourself. And yeah, just be good. Bye-bye.